Hi, John. Thanks for coming in today for an interview. I really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks, Shania. It's great to be here.
So let's just start off. Why don't you just tell me a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, I'm kind of what you would call a homebrewed technician, in a sense that I started off kind of young and learning as I went, different careers, and I've moved different positions as I've gone. So I started off in Long Prairie and kind of took that business and changed it, molded it into something different. And then now I'm an IT manager at Rinke Noonan, as you saw on my resume. And it's kind of, gone full circle in that sphere. So.
Wow, excellent. So are you from Long Prairie then? You said that you started out there?
Absolutely.
Awesome. I know someone in Long Prairie, so that's great. Why don't you tell me what some of your challenges were in your previous positions that you've had?
Sure. Well, like I said, I started off young, and so that's actually played in a lot to my work life. Even where I am now at Rinke Noonan, I started there when I was 19 years old, which is a little bit different than my coworkers were. There's a whole team that we have there, and most of them are in their 40s or later, and so kind of that power dynamic, managing people that are a different age from you, can be difficult at first until you kind of show the rapport and respect that you need to do so. So it's just working through those processes with them that we are now today a fully functioning team.
Oh, that's excellent. Okay, so I know you said that starting out young was something that was a challenge of yours. What would you say now, as you've been working for many years, is one of your weaknesses that you have?
Sure. That's a great question, Shania. I would say, I'm a very passionate person about what I do, and as I work with different departments, that's a big portion of my job, and I believe what you're asking me to do at your firm is to kind of work with each department and figure out what their business requirements are and find how we can provide technology to that. And unfortunately, you can ask my fiance, but I just love learning things all the time and like newer, greater things. And so as I learn about each department, I want to keep going with it. And so one of my weaknesses is finding that spot to stop, to hand it off to that department where it's out of my scope. And I really have, I think, kind of learned as I become more passionate and more refined. I've learned which things to focus in on and which things to kind of take a step back and pass off the reins to the other department.
Awesome. Okay. So I hear you talk about you have a lot of coworkers. You seem to be pretty close with them. If I were to take them out for dinner or something, how do you think that they would describe you, John?
Sure. I haven't heard that one before. That's a great question again. I think probably passion is the first thing. I really am. I walk the walk and talk the talk is kind of who I am. So what you're seeing is what you're getting, and all of my friends and coworkers would say the same thing. So passionate and just interested and kind of integrated into their lives. I'm not trying to just do my piece and walk home. I'm trying to make the whole business function correctly. And so it's really about diving in and figuring out where are their needs, how can we handle that within my own team, and then also within each department's team too, as we kind of figure out how we can help each other.
Awesome. So. Okay. And then my last question here, I'm going to ask you is, why do you want to work here? Why do you want this job?
Sure. That's, where I am now, as we've talked about my career progression, this is kind of the next step for me. This is the place I want to go. I have a lot of technical skills, and I've facilitated a lot of teams, but being your director of IT is probably, I think, the next natural progression for my career, and it really can showcase what I've done already and take the different circumstances I've learned and make them shine, but also allow me to kind of continue to develop as a person, because that's important for me, is continued education and see where I can grow and kind of help the firm grow and meet your business objectives.
Awesome. And it actually looks like I have a little bit more time here. So in this new position, it's different than what you've done before, because you'll actually could be responsible for letting someone go or firing someone. So can you tell me the process of what do you think you would go through if you had to fire somebody?
Sure. Well, unfortunately, I have had that experience before.
Oh, really?
That's been in my skill set. So generally, it's a matter of kind of identifying with that person, what needs to be done, why it was happening. Usually, there's a procedure, right? We don't want to just if we can, though I've also been there, just kind of fire out of the blue. But
Right.
a lot of times if there's been a discrepancy in the work product, we've kind of documented that, and so there's some past history we can talk about and go through. I've had one situation, I'll be honest with you, where it was just a layoff, and so kind of dealing with that is just explaining why it's happening, the business need, what's going on, and offering as much, trying to help that transition as smoothly as possible, just by going through each step of it with them. So.
Sure. Well, it was great meeting with you today, John. Thanks for
Yeah.
giving us some of your time. And
Thank you.
Take care. You'll hear from us soon.